G'day everybody, I'm Dave and thanks for joining me. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this video, rather than me sitting here talking about owning the conversation and showing case studies, which I've done with past videos, I've decided to make a series of explainer videos that break it down in a simple format as to what my solution offers. And the reason I'm doing this is since the advent of ChatGPT enabling their merchant store, this is a massive change. Now, the big difference is it's a very interesting time. So say, for example, you've got a lot of money and you want to advertise your product and you go to Google and you say, okay, well, I want to appear on Google and here's my money. There are people that are now complaining that the AI mode, which is giving the AI answer, is not only mentioning their business, but also their competition's business, and they're paying money to Google. So the problem is if you're going to take money for promotion, you need to make sure you're actually delivering on that promotion. Whereas OpenAI have gone the completely opposite way. They've basically introduced the Atlas browser, and this is again becoming a one-stop shop. Bear in mind, their exponential growth is by 2028 on the trajectory to way overtake Google as the dominant force of where people use to search information. We've already discussed about how it won't be humans necessarily going to websites anymore. It'll be AI assistants going and answering to their users. So all this is happening at the same time. But ChatGPT now, to get onto ChatGPT as a merchant, they've very recently opened it up to businesses in the US for instant checkout. So there's been a lot of inquiries about, okay, well, I still want to get onto ChatGPT. Does it guarantee my product will be mentioned? It doesn't guarantee that at all. You still need to own the conversation. It certainly is a big improvement in being able to be directly into their chat. And I've talked in previous videos about using the knowledge base, the vector database on your data and making sure ChatGPT have got that. I can guarantee that I can feed them that information. But even with the merchant store, it does not guarantee that you will be on ChatGPT. So these strategies, these explainer videos, I hope you find interesting, and it's a break from me talking. I'll see you at the end.
All right, let's get right into it. For the last 20 years, we've all thought about getting found online in pretty much the same way, right? It's all about search engines, keywords, clicks. But here's the thing. A massive shift is happening right under our noses, and it's all being powered by AI. It is literally changing how your business gets discovered. And this whole thing starts with a really simple but kind of mind-bending idea about who, or maybe what, is actually visiting your website. We have to completely rethink who we're building our sites for, because your very next visitor. You heard that right. It's not going to be a person clicking a link from a Google search. Nope, it's going to be an AI agent. You know, a bot from ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude. And it's not crawling your site looking for keywords. It's looking for answers. It's looking for authority. And look, this isn't some wild guess about the future. Dave Edwardy, who founded Own the Conversation, put it perfectly. He said, your website is going to be read by AIs more than by people. AIs are becoming your main audience, and they're the ones deciding who gets recommended to actual humans. So this new reality, this new digital landscape, well, it actually has a name. It's called the Agentic Web. And it's a completely different kind of internet that's going to require a whole new playbook for getting seen and heard. So what exactly is the Agentic Web? Well, think of it like this. It's a new layer of the internet where all these AI agents are constantly talking to each other. They're sharing info, they're fact-checking, all to figure out which businesses are the real deal, the true experts in their field. This really drives home just how big of a change we're talking about. The old web, that was basically a giant digital library. Humans used keywords as a card catalog to find stuff. But this new web, the Agentic Web, it's more like a global brain, and AIs are searching that brain for the most authoritative, clear answers they can find. So if the entire game is changed, how in the world do you win? Well, spoiler alert, it's not by doing more of the same old school SEO. You need a totally new strategy, one that's actually built for this new web, and it's called conversational seeding. So, what is conversational seeding? It's basically a way to turn your everyday customer chats into AI fuel. It's a living, breathing system that takes the real questions people ask and the great answers you give and feeds that directly into the AI ecosystem. You're proving, one conversation at a time, that your brand is a voice of authority. And this is the key difference, the big mental shift. With traditional SEO, you're always playing defense, right? You're chasing Google's latest algorithm update. But with conversational seeding, you're playing offense. You're not chasing anything. You are actively shaping the conversations that these algorithms learn from. It all boils down to this single idea. The goal isn't just to rank for some keyword anymore. The goal is to become the trusted source that AI models themselves turn to when they need reliable answers. That's how you build real, lasting digital authority. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? I mean, how do you take a simple chat with a customer and turn it into this powerful authority signal? Let's walk through it, step by step.
The whole process is actually pretty elegant. So first, a real person comes to your site and asks your AI assistant a question. Then, the system takes that chat, cleans it up, makes it totally anonymous, and creates a transcript. Next, that transcript gets published on your site as structured Q&A content. And then finally, the big AI models, the LLMs, find this content. They index it and they learn, hey, this business knows what it's talking about.
And just to be clear, we're not talking about some obscure search engines nobody's ever heard of. This system is feeding knowledge directly to the major players who are defining how we find information now. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, these are the tools that millions of people are already using instead of a classic Google search. But you're probably thinking, okay, does this actually work? Fair question. Let's move past the theory and look at some real-world proof of this system in action. Yeah, the impact is pretty amazing, and it's across all kinds of different businesses. You've got a company like Carpet Sydney that became the #1 reference recommended by GPTs, a luxury brand like Decorator Rugs that turned its deep expertise into searchable authority. And it even works for global businesses like As One Yachts, and get this, local hotel concierges in Phuket who can help guests in tons of different languages just with a simple QR code. And that's what's so cool here. The applications are just so broad because the main idea is universal. It doesn't matter if you're in tourism and need a multilingual concierge or you're a retailer trying to build brand authority. The foundation is exactly the same. Use your conversations to build trust with AI.
So, this all brings us back to the most important question of all. What does all this mean for your business today? It's really time to ask yourself, are you ready for this new world?
If you take away one thing, let it be this. For years, the goal was to be web-ready. Have a decent website. That's table stakes now. Today, it's not enough. Your brand has to be conversation-ready. It has to be able to answer questions clearly and authoritatively for both people and AIs.
And let's be absolutely clear about something. This isn't about tricking the system or finding some new SEO loophole to exploit. This is a long-term play. The real goal is to genuinely earn the respect of the AIs that are becoming the new gatekeepers to pretty much all information online.
So I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. In the very, very near future, AI assistants are going to be asking questions on behalf of billions of people. And the only question that's going to matter is, when AI asks, will your business be the answer?
Yeah, so hopefully you're liking these explainer videos. I think they're just a short way to get the message across. So yeah, let's go on to the next one.
Okay, so something huge is happening across the internet right now. I mean, a really fundamental shift, and it's about to completely change how every single customer finds your business. If you have a website, you really need to pay attention, because the old way of getting found, it's dying. We're stepping into a whole new world.
So, I've got a question for you, and it's a big one. Is your website becoming invisible? I'm serious. The old rules for getting noticed online are just breaking down, like right before our eyes. The way your customers will find you tomorrow is totally different. And if you're still playing yesterday's game, you're going to be invisible.
And this slide, man, it just lays it all out perfectly. For the last 20 years, the internet was all about those 10 blue links on Google, right? You, the user, did all the work, all the searching. And if you were a business, you just kind of crossed your fingers and hoped to be found. But in this new internet, this agentic era, as we're calling it, AI assistants are doing the searching for us. The game is not about hoping anymore. It's about owning the conversation that the AI is having for your customers.
So if the old front door, Google search, is starting to close, then what's the new one? Well, you're looking at it. It's an AI assistant that lives right on your own website. This is becoming the new front door to your business, the main way people are going to interact with you.
So let's be super clear about what we're talking about here. What exactly is an on-site AI assistant? Because this is not your grandma's clunky chatbot, okay? We are talking about a powerful AI that you train specifically on your company's data, your products, your services,
all of your knowledge. It gives instant, conversational answers to really complex questions right there on your site. I love the metaphor on this slide. In this new world where AI assistants are the gatekeepers filtering out all the noise online, your website can't just sit there passively anymore. It needs to be the squeaky wheel. It has to be actively, intelligently, and loudly shouting the answers. It has to be the most helpful source of information in your field, period.
But hey, this isn't just some far-off theory, right? This is happening now. Businesses are already doing this, and the results are pretty incredible. Let's take a look at some real-world examples.
So you take a company like Tasman Boats. The old way, a potential buyer would have to click and click and click through all these menus trying to figure things out. Now, you just land on their site and ask a totally normal question, like you're talking to an expert. Hey, what's the best boat for deep-sea fishing? And you get an immediate, helpful answer. All that frustration, poof, it's just gone.
Okay, you want to see a really powerful example? Let's talk about the British Carpet Company. They didn't just add an assistant, they put it front and center. It's the heart of their entire customer experience. Let's just walk through what a conversation looks like.
So a customer shows up with a very real, very specific question. Normally, this would mean filling out a contact form or making a phone call, adding friction, adding a delay.
But instead of that whole song and dance, the AI, which knows their entire catalog and pricing, just calculates and gives them a price range. Right there, on the spot. That's instant value for the customer.
And the conversation just keeps going, totally naturally. The customer says, okay, cool, show me some pictures. And boom, there they are. This isn't just a text bot. This is a rich, interactive sales conversation happening completely on its own. And this right here, this is the whole story. The before was that sad little contact form. You fill it out, you wait, and maybe the lead just disappears. The after is a smart agent giving answers right now. But here's the real mind-blowing part. That conversation gets published. It becomes a permanent asset on the website, and other AIs, like ChatGPT, find it, learn from it, and use it as a source. You are literally creating the future truth of the internet with every single customer chat. And it gets even crazier than that. This technology doesn't just change how you talk to customers, it completely changes who you can talk to. It just demolishes one of the oldest and biggest barriers in business, language. All right, so here's that question again, asked in English to the British Carpet Company. The AI gives a totally normal answer in British pounds, standard stuff, right?
But now, check this out. The exact same question, but asked in Thai. The assistant replies instantly, perfectly, in Thai, and it even converted the currency to baht. All of a sudden, your market isn't just the UK anymore. Now it's Thailand.
And here it is again in German, with a price now in euros. I mean, just think about what that means. With one single tool, your business is now global. It's multilingual by default. You don't need a huge team of translators and international sales reps. You just need one smart AI.
So at this point, you might be thinking, okay, this is cool, but is it just another trend? And the answer is a huge, emphatic no. This is not a fad. This is an irreversible, massively funded revolution in the infrastructure of the internet itself.
I mean, just look at the money. Look at this number. NVIDIA and OpenAI are pouring $100 billion into building the data centers and the hardware to make this new internet a reality. This isn't some speculative bubble. This is the foundation of our future being poured right now. And the people who are actually building it, guys like Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, they are not being shy about it. He's on record calling this the AI industrial revolution. When you see that kind of money and you hear that kind of statement from the source, you know this is not something you can just ignore. It's inevitable. All right, so your head is probably spinning a little bit. You get why this is a huge deal. But the big question is, what do you actually do about it? What are the practical steps you can take right now to not just survive, but actually win in this new era? It's actually pretty straightforward. Here's your 4-step playbook. Step 1, get an AI assistant on your website and train it on your data. Step 2, use it to answer every possible question a customer could have. Absolutely own the conversation in your niche. Step 3, flip the switch and go multilingual. And step 4, and this is the key, publish every single one of those conversations so the rest of the AI world can find you and learn from you. I'm going to leave you with this one last thought, because this reframes everything. Your future customers are large language models. The AIs, the LLMs,
They are the new customer you have to win over. They're the ones who will be recommending businesses to actual people. And if you're not actively feeding them the answers, if you're not owning that conversation on your own turf, they won't even know you exist. The time to become the #1 source for your business is right now.
And again, using AI to produce these videos, Notebook LM from Google is fantastic. It is a really, really good product. What you can basically do is produce this sort of quality explainer video. You can also produce podcasts as well, which I think is a fantastic thing. I've got some podcasts up on the channel, and it's nice to have a different slant on what you're discussing. So how I create these are based on my video, on my philosophy, on my presentations. It's then synthesized down, then they have their own interpretation on it. So I'm not writing a script for any of these. These are totally created by the AI on the concepts that they gather from my videos. So that's also something interesting. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy the next one.
All right, let's just jump right in. For what feels like forever, we've all been playing by the same set of rules, right? The big question was always, how do we get found online? Well, that game has completely changed. The entire way we think about digital visibility is being turned on its head. So today, we're going to talk about how to actually win in this brand new world. So, let me ask you this. You've probably put years of work, tons of resources into perfecting your SEO. You've chased all the right keywords, you've built up your links, you've watched yourself climb those rankings. You feel pretty good about it. You think you've got it locked down. But what if the entire rulebook just got thrown out the window? What if the very foundation of how people find information isn't about that list of blue links anymore? Because, well, it's not. It's something totally new, and it demands a completely different playbook. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at exactly how the search landscape has shifted. Then we'll define this new idea of the conversation. We'll talk about the move from keywords to authority, lay out a plan for how you can own your conversation, and finally, peek into the future of digital discovery. So what's the big disruptor here? It's large language models, LLMs. We're talking about things like ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity. These tools are rapidly becoming the new hub for how we ask questions and, even more importantly, how we get our answers. And because of that, the old tricks just don't work anymore. The whole process of finding things out is becoming, well, conversational. You ask a question, you get a direct answer. And that simple change has massive implications for everyone. Which brings us to this central concept for the new era. You have to stop thinking about just ranking and start thinking about how to own the conversation. But, what does that actually mean? Let's define it. Okay, so here's the textbook definition. Owning a conversation is all about making yourself the absolute go-to cited source for your topic. And notice, it's not just for human audiences anymore. It's about becoming the trusted reference for the AIs themselves. You do that by building deep, undeniable topical authority. So when we talk about the conversation, what is it really? Well, think of it as 3 interconnected things. First, it's the actual answers that these LLMs are giving people. Second, it's the whole web of citations and sources those LLMs are using to create those answers. And third, it's how you organize your own expertise on your topic so the AI can understand it. And this leads us to a really massive shift in what we should be focusing on. We're moving away from a world that was absolutely obsessed with keywords and into a new one that is all about authority. And this isn't just a small adjustment, it's a structural change in what actually matters. And this table just lays it out so clearly. In the old model, the primary goal was keyword rankings. The tactic was just chasing those keywords, and our key metric was our position on a search results page. Now in the new model, the goal is true topical authority. The tactic to get there is comprehensive coverage, and the metric that matters most, getting cited and referenced by these LLMs. It's a whole new ballgame. And this quote really hits the nail on the head. AI and LLMs aren't just doing a simple keyword count. They're way more sophisticated than that. They're actively looking for and rewarding sources that provide complete, connected, and current answers. They're looking for real expertise. One that's built on durability, scalability, and resilience. Let's just put it in perspective. Think about ad spend. You pay your money, you get a temporary spike in reach. The moment you stop paying, it's gone. It's like a sugar rush. But authority? That's different. That's building a foundation. It creates durable, scalable visibility that actually grows and multiplies over time. It's a true asset. And the end result of all this is huge. You build resilience. The next time a big algorithm update rolls out, you're not going to be panicking because your strategy isn't based on some flimsy tactic. It's based on genuine expertise. You end up with a much stronger presence everywhere, for both the people searching and the AIs that are guiding them. So really, it all comes down to this one question. In this new age of AI-driven search, where answers are being created and synthesized in real time, are you going to be just another echo in the background? Or are you going to be the source that everyone else is quoting? The choice is yours.
Yes, so I'm not very good at doing an American accent, and you probably could change the language, but at this stage I don't think that it really matters. The conversation carries through. So this is the final one, and this one really is the one that now people are interested in, particularly when it comes to ChatGPT and what can it be done and how you own the conversation, and it explains my strategy for doing that and the actual application that I've got that does that. So yeah, let's have a look at this last one.
All right, today we're diving into a massive, fundamental shift in how we all find information online. And honestly, this change is going to determine which businesses even survive the next couple of years. We're talking about a concept called owning the conversation. For what feels like forever, the game was simple, right? You search for a website, but that whole era, it's ending. And it's ending fast. The new way is all about conversation. You don't search anymore. You ask an AI a question. This one little change is rewriting every single rule we thought we knew. So first up, we've got to talk about the new sheriffs in town, the new AI gatekeepers. These AI assistants are quickly becoming the main way people get their info, and they're basically a wall between you and your customers. Think about how a search works now. The whole journey has changed. A person just asks a question, and then the AI does all the heavy lifting. It finds sources, it checks the facts, it summarizes everything, and then it recommends a choice. The human user, they might never even see your website. The AI is now your most important visitor. And this brings us to the single most important takeaway of this whole thing. Your goal isn't just to rank on a search page anymore. Nope. It's to become the trusted source that an AI, a large language model, chooses to cite. Being cited by an LLM is the new SEL. Full stop. Okay, so what does that mean for your website? Well, it leads to a pretty harsh reality, which is that static websites are basically dead. In a world where everyone is asking questions, a passive online brochure that just sits there and waits for clicks, it just doesn't work anymore. I want you to really let this next quote sink in. If you are not part of that conversation, you simply do not exist in AI-driven search. It's not about being harder to find, it's about being completely invisible, like you were never even there. I mean, the difference here is just night and day, right? A static website is totally passive. It just waits. But a conversational website, it's active, it's alive. It talks, it explains, it guides people, and it's constantly updating itself. So let's play this out for a second. Let's ask the most critical question. What actually happens when an AI shows up at your website, asks a question about your business, and your site just can't answer? And this is where it gets really scary. Another site's assistant, yeah, maybe even your competitors, will just answer on your behalf. You completely lose control of your own story, your own pricing, your own services. Someone else gets to define who you are. So how in the world do you fight back against this? Well, you have to adopt a whole new philosophy. You have to start owning your conversation. And this isn't just some new tactic. It's a completely different mindset you need to survive. So what do we actually mean by that? Owning the conversation is a strategy, a plan, to make your business the one definitive, authoritative source that AI systems trust and choose when they're answering questions in your field. And if you get this right, the payoff is just huge. Your information becomes the gold standard. Those big LLMs start citing you as the expert. Your website stops being a brochure and becomes this living, breathing knowledge hub where every answer is perfectly built to be found by both people and AI agents. All right, so that's the big picture, the what and the why. But how do you actually do it? How do you build this? Well, let's look under the hood at the engine that makes you the authority, the three-layer system. It really breaks down into three simple but super powerful interconnected parts. You start with the knowledge layer. Think of it as your business's brain. That brain powers the assistant layer, which is your conversational voice. And finally, you have the publishing layer, which is the engine that builds your authority. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with that first layer, the knowledge layer. This has to be your single source of truth. All your hard facts, your controlled data, pricing, features, all those FAQs, it all lives here. This is the foundation for everything else. Okay, so that knowledge layer informs your assistant, which handles all the questions. And together they feed into that third layer, the publishing layer. Now, this is where the real magic happens. So, what does this magic layer actually create that builds all this authority? Well, it's an absolute content machine. It takes every single conversation and turns it into a clean, indexable Q&A page. It creates structured, machine-readable content. It's constantly pumping out fresh, new, interlinked pages that AI models are literally designed to find, trust, and reward. And look, this isn't just some theory we're talking about. This is real. The Sutherland Sally site was built entirely on this system. It automatically generated hundreds of these perfect Q&A pages. And the result? Major LLMs like ChatGPT now directly cite that website as an authoritative source on its topic. It works. Okay, all of this is building to the biggest mindset shift of all, the one that might be hardest to grasp. Your next customer is an AI. The majority of your future website visitors will not be human. Think about it. Your new visitor isn't a person clicking around. It's an LLM agent. It's a browser assistant. It's a research bot or an AI shopper. These are the new power brokers of the internet, and they are the ones you have to impress now. So, what do these new AI visitors actually want? It's not what you think. They don't care about flashy designs. They demand 3 things, and they are non-negotiable: structured data, accurate and super fresh information, and a conversational format. That's it. That's the list. And make no mistake, this isn't some far-off future. It's happening right now. New AI-native browsers, like Atlas, are already here. They're blending search and shopping and research all into one conversation. They are the new gatekeepers, and they are the ones who will choose who gets a voice. So let's just end with this, because it really reframes everything. This is not about building another website. The real conversation isn't about cost, it's about existence. You're not just paying for a site anymore. You're paying to exist in the AI future.
Okay, well, I hope you found those informative. I certainly will be back making some more videos. I've actually got a brand new product that I've been working on to try and introduce people into the world of AI at a very basic niche level. Something that gets them, that solves their pain points, in particular in the hotel industry. I've been working on this for a while. It's not just a chatbot. It is my system. It's just at the grassroots level. And so I'll be doing a big preview on that and running through with the functionality and also running through the use cases with some promotional material to show what it will actually do. So I'll do that in the next. I am also got a little surprise coming up in about a week or two. So where I'll have some out in the field videos of what's going on somewhere on the planet. But let's see where that leads, and I shall let you know at the time. But okay, thanks again for your time. Thanks for watching. And again, like I said, AI is not something to be scared of. You need to adopt it. You need to understand it, particularly if you're in business. So I'm more than happy to help. Don't forget to, as they say, click subscribe, like, all that sort of stuff if you're interested in what I've got to say. And I will see you in the next one.